the work I've done as an adoptive parent is the best thing that I've ever done in my life.
Or will she learn that two dudes are actually two duds at raising kids?
It's affirming the option of you to become gay.
And stick with her traditional family values?
I don't want to see gays and lesbians adopting children.
There's no home better than this home.
Find out tonight on 30 Days. Ah, babies. Thanks to the miracles of modern medicine, almost anyone can have one. We can make babies in test tubes with turkey basters. We can even grow them in petri dishes. Not long ago, this 56-year-old woman gave birth to twins. Pretty soon, dudes will be getting pregnant too. You gotta love pickles and ice cream. Thankfully, that will probably never happen. But with all of the options out there, people are asking, who should be having babies? And more importantly, who should be raising them? Folks who never thought they'd be able to raise kids are now becoming parents. And one group taking advantage of this change is the gay and lesbian community. Having two moms or two dads was almost unheard of 20 years ago, but today, millions of kids are growing up in gay households. But popular opinion isn't changing along with the growth in gay parenting. Many critics think that gays raising kids is an affront to time-honored family values, and that growing up in this environment will leave children unhappy and confused. From their point of view, same-sex parenting should be restricted or even banned under state law. The gay community argues that as long as their families are stable and their kids are loved, why should sexual orientation matter? Have our mom-and-pop views on raising kids become outdated, or is the classic idea of the American home the only way to preserve family values? We'll find out when a traditional mommy goes from Leave It to Beaver to My Two Dads for the next 30 days. We found a woman who strongly believes that gays and lesbians shouldn't raise kids, and she's willing to put those beliefs to the test.
How was school for you? Recess bad? Why? What happened? Did somebody hurt you?
I believe that same-sex parenting just shouldn't be happening. In my book, a man and a woman are married, and they raise their children, and that's that.
Who's your best friend today, Tynan?
That's the way God ordered it to be, and that's the way I believe it should be.
Okay, let's go inside.
Katie is a 41-year-old housewife from the OC who lives in Fullerton, California.
If God had wanted two men to give birth, he would have provided them a womb, but he didn't.
Katie's been married to her husband Dave for 18 years, and they have two adopted sons, Tynan and Brady. Katie's a big proponent of the adoption system. In fact, she was adopted herself.
Come on, go!
She just doesn't think gays in adoption are a good fit.
I think you need a mom and a dad to raise a healthy, happy child. If you're being raised in a gay or lesbian environment, you're just not going to get both sides of the story.
We don't do that to each other, okay?
You're going to get two mom points of view, you're going to get two dad points of view, and it's just not the best possible environment to raise a child.
Oh my...
Across the country on a farm outside Ann Arbor, Michigan, live Dennis and Tom Patrick, a same-sex couple who are busy raising 4 adopted kids of their own, Josh, Joey, Paul, and Raul.
When someone says to me, every child needs a mom, I say, if what you mean is every child needs someone who is warm and nurturing and offers unconditional support to their kids, right, we do that. Tom and I are that way with our kids.
Dennis is a college professor and Tom is a high school math teacher. All the boys started out as foster children before the Patricks adopted them. 11-year-old Josh is a special needs child who was unable to speak before coming to live with Tom and Dennis.
What are you?
Josh?
Wow. Gay parents are not accidental parents, and they're very intentional parents, and I think that we know that we are being somewhat scrutinized in terms of people watching and, you know, not withholding judgment. And that sometimes is a frightening position to be in.
For the next 30 days, the Patricks will be opening their home to Katie so she can get a first-hand look at life in a same-sex household.
That's right. Excellent.
Our kind Father in heaven, we're grateful that we could have this meal tonight, and would ask that thou would please bless it.
Katie gathers a few friends together to break bread one last time before she leaves for Michigan.
Amen. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as the Mormons. I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to be a spokesperson for the church, because I'm certainly not. But the church is everything to me. It makes me who I am, and I have my opinions because of my belief system.
So what do you think is it that makes you want to do something like this?
Well, if I believe that a gay or lesbian couple shouldn't adopt children, and I do believe that, then I need to make sure I stand up for that because I have a moral obligation. Hopefully something good will come of it. We will make something good come of it.
I do have strong beliefs, and I think it'll be interesting to see what happens as I put them to the test while I'm out there.
and see if I can remain true to what I believe in. You understand Mommy's going away for 30 days? Gosh, I'm gonna miss you guys.
It's day one, time for a tearful goodbye before Katie heads off for her month-long stay with a gay couple and their kids.
Goodbyes.
I'm so gonna miss you. I love you. Bye, boys. Okay. Bye, honey. I love you. Mwah.
For the next 30 days, Katie will have to follow these 3 rules. First, she'll have to move in with a gay couple and their 4 adopted sons. Second, she has to immerse herself in the gay community and attend same-sex family events. And third, she'll have to work with gays and lesbians who are fighting for equal rights for their families.
Going face to face with someone who is a gay or lesbian couple, knowing full well that they believe the exact opposite of everything that I do. Wow. I mean, I'm terrified that they're just going to hate me walking in the door.
He wants to go on a bike ride. He's really interested in taking her on a bike ride.
When I read something critical of gay families, I said if those people could just spend a day with our family, they might change their mind. And I hope that happens. We'll find out, I guess. There's the door.
Okay.
Hi. I'm Katie. Nice to meet you. Hi there.
That's Raul.
I'm Katie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for inviting us into
Hi,
your
Katie.
home.
I'm
Me into your home. Tom, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. Well, Sarah, I'll give you a hand.
Wow.
They're right, Katie.
These 2 look just like my 2. Maybe a little younger.
How old are your 2?
6 and 7-ish.
They're 6 and 8.
6 and 8.
Well, we set up a nice place for you, so
Okay, great.
you probably don't sleep in a bunk bed at home, though, do you?
No, not usually, no.
This usually is where Joey and Paul stay.
Great.
There's a little chair, you know, but we can move in a different chair if you like.
I didn't know that's happening.
It was kind of awkward and strange, and we had that moment where, you know, shake hands, and then she kind of reached out and gave us a hug, so I thought that was pretty nice. And I could tell she was nervous, and that actually made me less nervous. This is a lot harder for you than it is for us, because we're at home and you're not. Please make yourself at home.
Okay, thank
Anything
you.
we can do to
really.
make this easier for you, more comfortable for you.
Thanks. I feel very good so far.
All right.
Good.
So,
Tom and Dennis seem kind, compassionate. I feel absolutely welcome here. I really expected to feel differently.
After settling in, it's dinner time, and Katie gets her first chance to see what's cooking in this same-sex household.
pass the watermelon, please. Thank you. Here, we'll put it here. Casserole is yummy.
It was good, man.
Yep, I ate it all. It's way tasty.
Josh, could you carry your plate to the kitchen, please? And your cup, and your napkin. And can I ask a question? This is something I've been thinking about. There's all these kids in foster care who are waiting for homes. And what happens to a lot of these kids is they age out of the system without ever getting a permanent home. Is that preferable, your opinion,
Well,
than being placed with a family like ours? Like, is no home better than this home?
I have to be honest with you, okay? I am not a specialist on adoption, okay? I'm coming at you from a purely gut feeling, okay? This is what I think. I don't want to see gays and lesbians adopting children. I don't really feel like gays and lesbians should be able to do that. I feel like it's morally incorrect. You know, it's not sanctioned of God that way.
We all have our own moralities, that's the
Well-
point. Because somebody's morality is different from theirs doesn't mean that they're an immoral person. To define somebody else's morality, I think is wrong.
There's some tension, a little bit of tension. I wasn't expecting that. I thought maybe it would sort of ease into things a little bit, but no such luck.
We have a grown-up cereal even.
Oh,
Berries.
yes,
There's
wow.
cornflakes.
Okay, great.
It's day 2 of Katie's month-long stay with a gay couple and their 4 kids, and this morning the house is abuzz with activity as Tom and Dennis get the boys ready for their first day of school after the summer break.
Okay, guys, come here. I want to talk to you before we go to school. I'm really proud of you guys. And you're going to have a great year, okay? I know. Now, your teachers know that you have 2 dads. And some of your friends know from last year. But some of the new kids in your class may not know. And you have to decide if you want to tell them or not, okay?
It was rather shocking.
Katie's going to come with us. We're going to walk out to the bus stop.
First of all, he's being asked to understand what 2 gay dads is. And second of all, he has to decide. He's 6. He has to decide whether or not to tell people. So now he's faced with this thing where he's got to make a huge decision about something that he shouldn't know in the first place. That is just really tough for me to deal with.
Is that their bus already? Holy cow, we almost missed it.
I recognize that at some point in time, our kids are going to get questions and comments.
Bye, sweetie.
They're likely to be teased or harassed or ostracized because they have gay parents, and they're preparing them for that. They need to be as comfortable with it as we are.
With the Patrick family off to school, Katie kicks off her own education by meeting with a local chapter of COLLAGE, Children of Lesbians and Gays Everywhere, a national support group for kids being raised in same-sex households.
COLLAGE is a great way that kids can have a safe environment where they can come and talk about, you know, their issues and concerns. And actually, maybe you can share on some of the stuff that you'd like.
Well, let's start with like what kind of an environment you grew up in.
I was raised by my dad and my stepmother, who I love dearly, and my mom and her partner, and it was basically very similar living situations. So,
Not much difference between homes?
no, we have all this normal problems. Normal being a very relative term, but I get berated for breaking curfew at both houses. I get yelled at for not picking up after myself at both houses. I don't know.
Well, Katie, what do you think about, kids of, lesbian moms and gay dads getting together in a group like this to look at the issues and support each other?
Basically, going to these groups and having these kids talk about this, it makes it so that they feel okay with themselves being gay or lesbian, when perhaps if they might have been raised in a mom-dad home, they wouldn't have had that kind of training. So for me to hear that the children are learning at a very young age that it's okay to be like that, it's a little bit scary for me.
But they're not learning how to be gay.
I didn't say they were learning how to be gay. No, I didn't. I said that it's affirming the option of you to become gay. Okay?
The toughest part of this whole thing for me is opening up my opinions, which have always been held inside. And so here I am out in this place. I'm with gay people, and now I'm being asked to share my opinions against gay people. It was horrendously uncomfortable and very stressful.
My mom is gay, and she didn't learn it from anywhere, certainly. She grew up in a very, very conservative Catholic home, and I'm much happier that my mom decided to be true to herself. It would have been a pretty bad upbringing, I believe, if my mom wasn't happy. Happy homes breed good children, unhappy homes don't. That's just my opinion.
Katie's day ends like any other night in her own house, with the kids doing everything they can to avoid going to bed.
Bedtime.
No, what's that? You're not in charge of us.
Honey, we're both in charge.
It's getting late.
Tom and Dennis are wonderful parents. They're providing love, and they're providing a home and all that stuff that's important for a family.
Good night, sweetie. I love you.
But there is an icky factor for me. The very definition of the word gay is two men sleeping together. And the fact that there are children down the hall, it seems like it's wrong to me.
Opponents of gay parenting, like the Christian-based Family Research Council, argue that kids raised in openly gay households are more likely to have problems.
Homosexuality is associated with higher rates of sexual promiscuity, sexually transmitted diseases, mental illness, substance abuse, domestic violence, and child sexual abuse. And those are all reasons for us to be concerned about placing children into that kind of setting.
Don? Hi. Don STEFANOWICZ is a critic of gay parenting who's written a book about the challenges she faced being raised by a gay father.
So I was hoping that you could just, tell me a little bit about your upbringing. What was it like for you?
When I was quite young, about 10 months old, my father brought in one of his partners into the household. And I was very aware that there was homosexual activities going on. My father would talk about bathhouse sex at the kitchen table. And my father also began to take me into the downtown sex shop. He wanted me to be quite open-minded about sex. I repressed a lot of my feelings and thoughts. I was afraid of talking about what I was going through. I would be at school and not feel it would be safe enough to go up to a teacher or a counselor to describe my situation. I was very cautious about who I brought home. I didn't want to have to explain my situation. I thought that people would not associate with me anymore. For me, what ended up happening is it created some sexuality confusion. When I saw that men were valued and that my father was expressing affection with other men, it made me feel, as a little girl growing up, that somehow my own femininity, my own womanhood, was not being acknowledged and valued.
Based on your personal experience, do you believe children are at risk if they're raised in homosexual households?
Children need a married mother and father. Love is important. Good parenting skills is very important. But we definitely need to see gender valued. I want children to have a mom and a dad as much as possible. And I know there's so many situations that are not ideal. But we still need to hold to an ideal that is best for children, to give them a sense of stability and security.
So is it going to be like a sermon first or the Sunday school first?
It's Sunday morning, and Katie's hoping that Patrick's weekly church service will give her a much-needed break from exploring same-sex parenting issues.
This church has a number of stances that at different times in history have been controversial, and some of them still are. This church proclaims itself open and affirming of gay and lesbian people, inviting them to full participation in the life and ministry of the church. And though we have not made an official stance on it, it is so clearly the understanding of this congregation that we affirm gay and lesbian couples and their right to have children, to have families, to adopt, to live securely in this society with all the rights and privileges of anyone else.
I just can't go with what seems to be the church of do anything you want, be anyone you want, think any way you want. There's really no rules.
It's all part of the moral degradation of America because it's all becoming so free and so easy that we're just allowing our children to have more access to these free ideas, and I just don't think it's good for children. I don't think it's necessary, and I just wish that it could all kind of be reined in a little bit more. I believe in doing what God thinks is right, okay, and what I think is right.
But it affects personal lives.
Well, of course it does.
One thing I like about the church is that it's not so simplistic to say this is, here are all the lists of things that God does or doesn't want you to do, and we're absolutely certain that this is right. How do you know that you're right and other religions haven't got it right?
I have prayed about it, and I have received an answer. If you really have the intent in your heart to find out truth, you will get an answer.
We might all be getting different answers, and this goes back to the adoption issue. Your answer steps on my answer.
But how can you think that my answer steps on your answer?
Because when you want to have laws passed that make it unable for me to be able to adopt, that steps on me.
Right, so how is it that it doesn't step on me the other way?
Because I'm not trying to pass laws so that you can't adopt.
No, but you're trying to pass a law that affects my very moral fiber. So if you're telling me that, by me standing up for what I believe in is wrong, then that's you stepping on my toes.
I'm saying...
So why can't we just not step on each other's toes?
And that's the same thing I'm asking.
So I stand up for what I believe, and I vote for what I believe, and you work for what you believe in, and we'll see who wins.
Up until yesterday, I just felt like I was living with a stranger, somebody that had an opposition to gay adoption, but now it feels like I'm living with the enemy, and it's hard. I gotta learn to live with this woman, even though I don't really want to.
These days, gays and lesbians are raising kids in record numbers. But when same-sex couples want to actually have children, no matter how hard they try, human anatomy wins out every time. But that's where sperm banks come in. Believe it or not, each year about 50,000 women are inseminated by donor sperm, so making babies is big business. Today I'm in San Francisco visiting one that started over 20 years ago to cater to the growing need of lesbians who want kids.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, we're in Sharon Mills.
Pleasure to meet you.
Welcome to Pacific Reproductive Services.
Owner Sharon Mills is going to show me the step-by-step process women use to get their family started.
This is our room where we store our specimens, and we keep our donor sperm in these tanks. Liquid nitrogen is very cold.
It's like a sci-fi movie.
There's a rack of sperm, and we'll just show you a box real briefly. These racks contain about 13 boxes, and this box will hold 100 vials.
That's amazing.
First, a woman gets to research the bank's donor database, which has all the stats she'll need to find the perfect baby daddy.
Body build, blood type, height, complexion, medical history, education. So nobody ever comes in here and say, I want the father to be an ugly alcoholic.
No, never had that request.
No.
Once she finds Mr. Right, it costs about $300 each time she uses Mr. Right's stuff.
So here's this vial that has one dose, $300.
But there's not going to be a kid for every vial of sperm because it takes usually a few tries. So,
How many does it take usually?
I would say an average of about 6 months. That could be anywhere from 6 to 12 vials. She might do 1 procedure a month, or she might do 2 procedures a month.
And what do the donors get for all their hard work?
And so do people get paid to do this?
Yes, they do.
How much do you get paid?
We pay anywhere from $80 to $100.
And how often can I come back?
Twice a week is the most we let a donor come in.
So I could make $200 a week.
You could.
I could.
Yes.
$800 a month.
You could.
I could.
Yes.
$9,600 a year.
Yeah.
Almost 10 grand a year.
Yeah.
Doing what I do already.
That's right.
And I can get paid for it.
That's right.
God bless America. This is the best country ever.
For gay couples who want kids, getting knocked up is only part of the problem. Pending legislation to ban same-sex parenting has become their biggest battle, and Katie's going to put herself right on the front lines by working for CARE, an advocacy group fighting for the rights of gay couples.
Well, we're an advocacy organization in Michigan, and we're working towards getting second-parent adoption legislation passed. That would make two parents, even if they're unmarried, to be able to adopt. Several years ago, I was in a relationship with a woman, and we decided to have a child together, and she was the birth mom. I mean, we had a little boy, and then one day she just decided, I don't want you to be in his life anymore, and completely cut me out. And I tried to go to court to get visitation, but I wasn't able to get visitation because I wasn't biologically related. He knew me as his mom, he knew me as his parent. Having to figure out how to live my life knowing that I have a child out there who might feel abandoned by me is awful and horrible.
I'm so sad for you. Your heart must be broken.
Mm-hmm.
But it could have been prevented if you would have been accepting of your situation. Now, what would happen if you would have just accepted the fact that you were a lesbian woman and you didn't choose to have children? There wouldn't be a child that was abandoned or not abandoned. There wouldn't be that situation. In my mind, two women don't really have the right to have a child. I mean, the whole country's laws are set up for people who are a man and a woman in a married situation.
Laws are dynamic, and they represent the times in which we live. Indeed, the laws were against her, and so what we're doing now is changing the law so that she can be, and we can be, and other people can be providers for children who they'll love.
Organizations like CARE are working hard across the country to pass legislation so that same-sex parents have the same rights as straight married couples. The minute a man and woman say I do, the government gives the happy couple over 1,000 legal and financial benefits. They save money on taxes, and they can have access to their partner's health and Social Security benefits. And if a baby joins the mix, both parents automatically have equal rights over the little tyke. But gays and lesbians in civil unions or domestic partnerships have less than a quarter of the same rights and benefits as their heterosexual counterparts. And if they want to add to the family, chances are only one of them will have parental rights over the child. CARE's trying to raise awareness for their second parent adoption bill, and they've recruited Katie to pound the pavement for the cause.
I'm doing a little job from an organization called CARE. Would you be willing to put up a flyer in your window?
Okay.
Great. I was kind of enraged. How dare they ask me to do the exact opposite of what I believe in? And inside my head, I kind of went nuts. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. Gay and lesbian people are banding together to gain rights that I believe are reserved for married people. That very thought right there makes me have a knot in my stomach.
And what brings you to this project?
I'm actually sort of on the opposite side of this issue. However, yes,
Okay.
I'm actually, my personal opinion is to advocate for adoption for married couples.
So many straight people make lousy parents,
Yeah,
and so many
I'm alarmed by that too.
gay people would make great parents, yet they're struggling to adopt children. It just seems a bit hypocritical in some respects.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
Nice
Take
to meet
care.
you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
After almost 2 weeks together, Katie and the Patricks are starting to feel the strain of living with the opposition.
I think Katie feels she's building connections with us, but there seems to be a wall there.
Paul?
I'm looking at my children, I'm thinking about Paul, who hugs everyone. I haven't seen him hug Katie, and I haven't seen my boys warm up to her. I think the boys sense that she's not as approachable as what she may think she is.
It's very difficult. I'm the only one out here with my opinion, and I have to defend myself at every turn. It's just, I'm out there. I'm alone, I'm isolated, and it is so hard. It is so hard.
It's day 13, and Katie heads out to a barbecue organized by members of the Lesbian Moms Network.
So I am off to go meet a whole bunch of lesbians and their kids and try to appear happy.
Events like this are a regular thing for the 250 families that make up the Moms Local Network. But today, it's not just the burgers that are getting grilled.
Are you okay with lesbian gay men adopting children?
No.
And you don't think I should be able to marry a female?
No.
Why?
Because marriage is a man and a woman, and I don't ever want to see the institution of marriage ever be with a woman and a woman or a man and a man. And it doesn't make me think any less of you.
I think you
It's
see
just a
me as an
factual
equal, but you don't see my right to marry.
You know what?
As equal.
And you have to understand right here and right now, I'm feeling really nervous, okay? I'm talking to someone who's not in my camp, and I'm defending myself, right? So
I'm not
forgive me
asking
if I
you-
get
I'm not attacking you, but you do make a judgment.
No, I don't.
No.
And I get kind of resentful, I guess, when somebody like you says something like, I think less of you. You make it so personal. But I don't think less of you.
You may think I'm a cool person, but if I want to marry a woman I love, you are against it.
That's right.
And that affects me very personally. And I'm not hearing you say I will consider your point of view.
I am considering it right now.
Okay.
Okay?
Relax.
Yeah.
We're nice people, really we are. Why don't we just relax for a minute?
Yeah, I'm gonna go sit down and get some shade.
Mhm.
I'm hot. This is supposed to be a party, for heaven's sakes. Nothing. I'm just having an emotional outlet, okay? That's all. People get so angry when they can't understand that I don't have all the answers. What am I supposed to do?
Why would
I'm
you
not
have all the
God. I really don't think I want to talk to her again.
No, I don't. You don't have to.
This is really hard, you know, because it causes me to dig down inside about things that I really care about. And to watch somebody else who really cares about everything that's opposite from what you care about. And to kind of think that, you know, there's an army of people trying to do the opposite of what you're trying to do. And it makes me kind of sad, you know?
What are you doing? Making pancakes? They're almost ready.
Katie Blackledge is halfway through her month-long stay in a same-sex household, and today she's shaking the homesick blues by cooking up her favorite breakfast.
Does everybody like chocolate chip pancakes, or do we want some people that don't have it?
I like it.
Since I came here, I have faced challenges. It's absolutely harder than I thought it was going to be. And my belief, the gay and lesbian lifestyle, is something that's not correct. But I'm still trying to get all the facts. This is a time when I'm going to test what I believe in, and I'm going to have to decide, am I going to judge them on their behavior, or am I going to love them for who they are? I hope I'm going to love them for who they are.
Hey, are they okay?
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah, they're good.
Thank you.
Katie knows the Patrick kids are happy and healthy, but to see what life could have been like for the boys if they hadn't left foster care, she heads into Detroit to meet two ex-foster kids who never got adopted.
Katie.
Hi, how are you? Maurice.
Maurice, nice to meet you.
Joni.
Joni, nice to meet you.
Maurice Webb and Joni Hill are working to bring awareness to the foster care crisis so that other children don't have to endure the hardships they did.
First and foremost, I'm a former foster youth. I was in 3 group homes. And no child should have to deal with living in a group home. None of them come close to living with a real family.
It's like a lockup facility.
Yeah, without the chains and bars.
For years, I slept with my coat, my shoes, and everything on because I would get moved around so much and I wouldn't feel comfortable. Only time I feel comfortable is in my coat.
So you're talking about we need homes for kids and these gay and lesbian couples who want to be able to adopt children. You know, it seems to me that that's not a problem. Is that right? You guys don't discriminate.
It's just whether black, green, white, gay, lesbian, whatever, we need families. We need families because we have children out there. These kids need a chance. A lot of our youth are just facing the perils of life because they get moved around like boxes. They get put from shelf to shelf to shelf. I mean, the bottom line is we need stable families for children.
Well,
and that's
and
the
that,
problem.
I mean, this is really enlightening for me. I'm really anxious to spend the day with you guys and find out more.
I don't know if you've ever been in a really bad neighborhood, but this is kind of the depressing state that a lot of youth go through, especially in urban neighborhoods.
Maurice takes Katie on a tour of Motor City's mean streets where he grew up.
This was my street.
Oh my goodness.
Right here, where there's grass now, this used to be a house, and that used to be my home. But it got firebombed, and my mom was shot in the same week.
Oh my gosh.
And so kids go through this every day.
Wow.
This is life for most people. This here is actually the group home that I spent most of my foster care days in. This is actually my room here, where these bars are.
Oh, wow.
And it really didn't look too much different than what it looks right now. I just wanted to get out of here as bad as I could. And these are all neglect and abandoned children. These are not delinquent kids that are in these kind of homes here. These are kids who are just housed because they have nowhere to go.
It's so unfair.
Yeah, it really is. It really is unfair for our children.
Same-sex adoption may minimize the number of children in foster care, but that doesn't make it right.
I just don't want kids to be put in homes of gays and lesbians. I still just think that they should be going into mom-dad households. But, you know, I don't know if I'm right. I mean, I think I'm right.
Katie's got a week left with the Patricks, and today they're having a cookout for family and friends, including their adopted son Josh's birth parents.
I want Katie to hear that Joshua's birth family had reservations about Joshua coming to our family, but now they not only support our family, they value our family.
I had issues myself as a mom.
Yeah.
You know, at first I felt like, oh my Lord, you know, my boy's with these gay people, you know, what am I going to do? But then as time went, as I got to know, like I said, after I got to know Dennis and Tom, I said, oh my God, they are good guys.
Joshua seems like he's happy where he's at. He's got a loving family.
Right.
And he's safe here. Dennis and Tom are really great people.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
You can tell. You can look around. I mean, people love Dennis and Tom.
I do struggle with the idea that these are really great people and really great parents, and yet they're homosexual men and have these kids with them. I just have to separate it and say, you know what, I love the people, I don't love their choice of behavior, but I can't change the way they're going to behave, so I might as well just not think about that.
I was born and raised Catholic, and when Josh was placed into this particular household, I have to admit I was not very happy about it. But out of all of the homes that these kids have been placed in, and including my own, this is the best house that any of them could have ever come to.
I thank God that Dennis and Tom stepped up, said we'll take them. Nobody else did.
I believe that children should be raised in a mom and dad household. That's my moral perspective, that's it. And it doesn't have anything to do with parenting ability. It's a moral question.
These children be in foster care for the rest of their lives instead of being adopted?
You're assuming that they will.
I don't think you maybe realize the magnitude of how many kids are in care. If you make it illegal for gay and lesbian families to foster care and adopt, those numbers are going to get even higher. And I know you care about kids, but what I don't understand is how you would want to do that to kids.
I don't want the other thing to happen to kids either. I don't want
thing?
kids to be put in gay and lesbian households to proliferate the openness of gayness and lesbianism. I think it's not normal and not natural.
Then what difference does it make whether or not the children are brought up in a heterosexual household or in a lesbian household or a gay household?
His older brother.
I don't sleep with my Stop right there or else I'm leaving. You're attacking me with hostility and I don't want to talk
asking you a
hostile anymore.
question. I'm not being
No, you're
hostile.
not. You're not asking me anything. We've already gone over this. They were seriously offended that I could not sway my beliefs to be in line with theirs. You know, I took it until I couldn't take it anymore.
You know what? I'm standing up for myself. If you're going to stand here and insult me, you can go.
I'm done. Goodbye.
Yeah, because you can't take it.
I can take it just fine.
My fear is that having her beliefs challenged is not really opening her mind, but simply cementing her original opposition.
I know within my heart that I am right. If I depart from the truth of what I believe in just slightly, then I am physically, mentally, emotionally going against God, and I will not do that. Scout's gonna have to get himself off the couch there.
Katie's near the end of her 30 days, and tonight she's reflecting on her experience with some of the Patrick's friends.
There was a few kind of rough spots, but even though I adore Tom and Dennis, I still am on my moral ground that gays and lesbians shouldn't adopt. That's got to be kind of like, just like, you know. Yeah, it was. It's just, I cannot support something that I believe shouldn't happen. But I also 100% think that each person on the other side has the right and the option to do the thing that they want to do. That's what our very country is founded upon, is our ability to vote for what we believe in and stand up for what we believe in.
I can accept your disagreement if it stops at just a disagreement. It's at the point where the disagreement turns to action. That's when it becomes problematic for me, because it means fewer kids would be adopted. I'm hoping your disagreement doesn't take you to a place where you would actively try and restrict this kind of foster care or adoption from happening. After 30 days, I don't see Katie's position as changing a whole lot. I don't think she's left her original position. So now I'm trying to readjust. What do I want to get out of this, and why am I doing it? To put my family through this, to have the end result simply be someone who's even more opposed to gay adoption after spending time with our family would be disheartening and disappointing.
It's Katie's last night, and she sits down with Tom and Dennis for a final heart-to-heart.
I am so happy to be going home soon.
I know.
It's been hard on all of us, don't you think? Kind of?
Yeah, in a lot of different ways. I think I've learned that my initial way of thinking was kind of naive. Being with our family is not enough to change how you feel about gay adoption, because it's tied to this belief and this belief and this belief and that belief.
I can be opposed to the global idea of the thing and still realize that there's good people out here doing what it is that I'm proposing to be opposed to.
I just have trouble wrapping my mind around that. It seems like a contradiction. My relationship with Tom and the work I've done as a foster parent and adoptive parent, to me, is the best thing that I've ever done in my life. And to know that on the other side of the table is somebody that labels that a sin, that's hard for me to reconcile. And as long as who we are has that label on it, as much as I like you, I don't see us leaving this experience being friends. This is so important to me that I want my friends to value that and celebrate it. I never thought that I was the kind of person who would draw a line, but I guess I am.
Well, I can't abandon what I've spent my whole life building. Just like you can't abandon, what your whole life has been doing.
I don't expect you to abandon your faith or your values or your morals.
Yeah, but you kind of do. In order to be your friend, you kind of do. I think I'm kind of done. Done. Thanks. Good night.
Good night. It's okay.
"30 days have come and gone, and after a difficult journey, it's time for Katie to say goodbye to the Patrick family."
You drew a picture for me? Is that me? Yeah. I'm gonna miss you.
This was really a chance to learn a lot about somebody who feels very differently than I do. It's been challenging, it's been disappointing, it's been sad. I'm not happy with the outcome necessarily, but I'm happy I did it.
All right, see you guys later. Thanks again.
Bye.
This is horrendously bittersweet. I feel very pained inside that we can't be friends, but I understand it.
Bye!
I think that Tom and Dennis are striving for all the good things in life for themselves and for their children. And I respect them for the role that they play as parents, even though I don't agree with it. I absolutely believe two people should agree to disagree. If they can't get along on an issue, then just lay it down and say, okay, well, you have that feeling, I have this feeling, we're gonna just be different on it. It's not offensive to me. Really, everybody's allowed to have their own feelings. In the past 30 days, I have learned that it's really important to explore the lives and the ideas of the people that I don't necessarily agree with. Because the vast majority of the people that I've met have been just like me. They just make different choices.